Welcome to the 78th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today, we are bringing you the second half of our winter 2019 season first impressions, based on the first few weeks of shows. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and the podcast feed below. If you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since you're a little bitch apparently, because there's literally only a few shows that are good this season, so... and since we spoil like literally everything, then I guess skip to that part because we'll list them. Whatever. My name is Kat, and I want to be a magnificent girly fighter pilot.
Hell yeah.
Never in my life will I be a girly fighter pilot and need a man to tame me so that I can be useful. Ooh. But we'll have that conversation in a second. With me are my co-hosts Leo and Bcom.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
I still like my original intro for you better.
Actually, if you had just written that and not let me that would have been funny. But what was it?
I was going to say, my name is Kat, and I skew the rankings so that I get the shows I want watched.
You gotta be sly.
Which is what you said. You just like flat admitted it to me. I'm like, no. Become.
I mean, at least I'm honest. At least I don't lurk in the shadows like you last season, being like, ooh, let me manipulate things behind the scenes. No, at least I came out and was like, I'm gonna manipulate this so it's best for me.
She's like, I'm gonna move Run with the Wind higher so that we get to watch it. I was like, oh, fuck you.
It's gonna happen. It's Run with the Wind is happening, Leo. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
You're gonna watch goddamn Run in the Wind with us. We're gonna park you in front of the screen every week while you cry, and you're gonna watch the damn show. Okay? Just deal with it.
There might be a worse show that I already know we're gonna watch, so
I
we'll get to it.
I know you're gonna make me watch that, which that'll be my suffering. Neither of us is gonna be happy, okay, Leo?
It's a light season. We're all gonna suffer a little bit.
Exactly.
Yep. How about the iTunes review, Kat?
Ooh,
we got a 5-star review.
Okay, so we got a new iTunes review this week, and it is from Over Infinity 984 from the US. Okay, so it says, the comprehensive package. Excellent podcast with great hosts.
Damn right.
Spoiler-filled, but great for keeping up to date with the current seasonal lineup.
If I got the podcast out on time.
Yeah, because
sorry about the last few weeks, Over Infinity.
Where is it?
Oh, I've been busy. There's going to be a lot coming out very soon.
All you viewers, go on Bcom's Twitter and tweet him. Where is it, Bcom? Where's the podcast?
Indeed.
Yeah, he's holding out.
Seriously, do it. Do it. Okay. I really should shit on you. I should help you. Anyway, this is where you go. And back to the review, by the way. Sorry, Over Infinity. This is where you go if you want to see an initial episode of anime, but aren't sure if you should follow it week to week. I added the week to week part because I wanted it to be a more comprehensive sentence.
Over Infinity, thank you for writing non-comprehensive sentences about us that were very nice.
I love you, Over Infinity. I'm sorry that I'm an obsessive English major.
She only took it's a 3-sentence paragraph and stretched it into like 5 minutes with added commentary.
That's what we English majors do.
Anybody get up to any nonsense?
Yeah. You guys go first while I think about mine.
Yeah, just stupid work stuff. They don't want us to work overtime over the weekend, so they're trying to just do incidental during the week, and then we end up working Saturday anyways. And it's a freaking pain in the butt, because if you work a 12-hour shift, you don't have time to do anything after work. You have enough time to eat and get to bed.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Just let us work Saturday and Sunday, please.
Just play this podcast for your bosses.
Yeah, and also makes it very hard to do a podcast because I don't know when I'm supposed to watch anime.
I'm sorry, Leo.
Yeah.
Well, I woke up in my house on Wednesday because, okay, so everyone in Indiana, I don't know if y'all who aren't living in the Midwest know about this.
The Polar Vortex.
We had this thing called the Polar Vortex, which all sounds very sinister. It really just meant like it got to what, -10, -20, something like that.
It got stupid cold, and then the high the next day was 5, and then it went back into the negatives overnight. Pretty much people in Michigan, maybe a couple people in Illinois and Ohio experienced it too, but really, that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I woke up, everyone had already canceled everything. So like my work had said, yeah, don't come in. Like I had a doctor's appointment scheduled for that day. They were like, yeah, fuck this. You can't come in. I was like, shit.
The only thing that canceled around here was no school. I still had to go to work.
Well, yeah, they were like, don't come in. So I was like, okay. So I woke up knowing I didn't have to go to work, and my power was out. And it had been out for a while. And it was over, I think it was like negative like 12 at that point. So it was really fucking cold in my apartment. And it continued to be off for another 6 hours. So it just kept getting colder and fucking colder in my apartment.
Do you know actually how cold it got inside?
I don't, because I don't have a temperature that I carry around in my hand to test it, okay?
Oh, you didn't check the thermostat as soon as it kicked back on or nothing?
No, I just was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. And I walked around my house saying, fuck, fuck, fuck.
You could have just cuddled with your husky. I bet you he was happy.
Well, she was. And what I did was I put every fucking blanket in my house on my bed and just like huddled there. It was okay. But then it finally did turn back on. And I was like, thank fucking God. And I like ran around my house celebrating.
But it was out because of the cold. That's the crazy thing.
It was basically too cold for the power to function. Not because of a storm, because of it was too fucking cold.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So what did you get up to, Bcom?
My nonsense has been going back like 20 years. And that's me being a New York Knicks fan, which is really a bad place to be, especially this week. The New York Knicks have been bad for a very, very long time. They're like comically badly run sports
Did they have their own
basketball
movie,
franchise.
Though, with Whoopi Goldberg?
They did. Eddie, I think it was called. It wasn't a very good movie.
Nope.
So we got really excited a couple years ago because we'd had the top 5 pick in the draft. And we drafted this guy from Latvia named Kristaps Porzingis. And, like, he kind of got booed at the draft because the draft was in New York and, like, nobody knew who the hell he was, or, like, a lot of stupid Knicks fans didn't know. But he instantly turned out to be, like, an extremely exciting player, like 7'3" guy, extremely athletic, can shoot 3-pointers, like, block shots. He's, like, the full package. But we had nobody around him, so we were losing a lot of games anyway the past couple of years. And then he got injured. He got an ACL injury, his knee. And he's been out for like almost a year now. And it's coming up to like the NBA trade deadline. And he sits down with the management of the Knicks and says, hey, so at the end of this season, I'm not going to sign a long-term contract with this team. I'm only going to sign what's called the qualifying offer, which will allow him to return for 1 year because he's a restricted free agent. There's all sorts of weird restrictions on free agency in NBA to allow teams to keep players for a little bit longer, at least. But since he said that, we had to go into panic mode and realize, like, okay, he's not in our long-term plans. So we need to trade the one great hope of our franchise. This past couple like days, we traded him for basically cap space, which is like the potential of signing really good players this summer, except the Knicks never really sign good players because nobody wants to play for the Knicks because we
basically,
suck.
The Knicks got stuck in a tough spot, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah,
basically, the Knicks got broken up with by their best player. He's like, it's not you, it's me.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
It's not you, it's me.
So as a Knicks fan, I feel dumped. And so I've been dealing with that rejection this week. It's been sad. But good prospects on the horizon, guys. Don't worry.
Oh, God.
I'm just imagining the Knicks as like an angry, like dumped lover in the streets being like, good prospects, I'll find a better one, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Like, I'll find someone even better than you. And like that player's like, yeah, right, dude, okay.
You haven't even seen me at my best. Oh God. Anyway, so screw basketball. Let's get back to anime. Thursdays we're talking about. So the first show we've got to talk about is Girly Air Force.
Also known as fucking bullshit show that we've seen 1,000 times again.
Indeed.
Like, This is not anything new. This is the same shit. It reminds me of that show from a couple of years ago. You remember the one where the girl like drinks gasoline and then she turns.
Is that a commercial? I think that's a commercial or something.
I thought it was
like
a real
short
anime.
I just remember seeing that clip all the time, and I forget what it's from. But like, yeah.
But it's the same bullshit, right? It's like hot girls turn into aircraft and then turn back. They must be controlled by a man because they can't do it themselves. Like, what the fuck?
And yet Bcom managed to write a page about this. So
well, yeah, what do you have to say about it, Bcom?
Apparently that anime is called Henkei Shoujo, where she drinks the gasoline and turns into a car.
I knew it was an anime. I was like, I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know if it's a short or what. So first of all, yeah, Girly Air Force, it's a light novel adaptation by Studio Satellite, who are terrible. And the director is Katsumi Ono, who worked on Symphogear and like a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like Izakaya, apparently. That's kind of funny. Very different show. So I mentally dropped this show exactly 5 minutes and 45 seconds in, even though I watched the rest of episode 1 and episode 2. And so I'll talk about like why leading up to that I dropped this, or like mentally was done. So it starts off with some really lackluster like visuals, where like that immediately had me on guard, because like these people are on like a cargo freighter and they're escaping Shanghai, China, because this mysterious military called the Zai is like after them, and these fighter planes are like attacking the refugees on the ship, basically. Mm-hmm. And there's this main guy who's trying to escape. His name is Kei, and he's with a girl named Minghua. And basically, they're trying to get off the boat, and like Kei is having these like flashbacks. It took me a while to understand it was a flashback, because like there's these Zai fighters, right, that are flying around that can move in like every fucking direction, because they're like really advanced fighters. And like there's this weird flashback where Kei sees one of them like fire down or shoot down a Cessna, like little like tiny like fixed plane propeller aircraft at an air show. It turns out later he's remembering his mother got shot down, and so that's why he hates the Zai. They just shot her down in an air show. Like, why the fuck would they do that? That's like the shittiest thing ever. But yeah, so in the middle of them escaping, there's this super like sleek red fighter jet that launches and like takes down one of the Zai aircraft, and it's like really super cool, and there's like Initial D music playing over the whole dogfight. And like, so yeah, long story short, after the plane gets shot down, the Zai fighter, the other one like bugs out, and the red fighter plane like just drops out of the sky and falls into the water right near Kei's rescue boat. And so he like opens the door to the rescue boat and goes and swims over to the fighter plane and like knocks on the canopy, is like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And like, so the cockpit opens up, and of course there is just a beautiful pink-haired maiden inside the cockpit.
This is how it always works.
Girl you'll ever see.
It always works like this. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
every time.
you know.
Like, if Tom Cruise was a cute anime girl, this would be her.
Yeah, it's never like some bald old dude with like a big beer belly, like scratching like his hairy chest. No, it's always a hot anime
Fucking
girl.
fried chicken stains on his white beater.
It's always a hot anime girl. That's the only thing that could possibly appear.
And she's unconscious until he like makes a bunch of noise, and she immediately awakens. And what is the first thing she does? She puts her hand gently on Kei's cheek, leans in, and kisses him deeply. And that was 5 minutes and 45 seconds in, where I was like, all right, this show's fucking stupid.
Yep. Well, doesn't it just basically come down to, like, he's got the childhood friend. And so they're refugees from China in Japan, which I actually thought was the best part, was the fact that was the storyline, was them being refugees. Even if it is, like you said, unrealistic, at least it's a good storyline. So it's basically ends up being like the childhood friend versus this hot anime plane chick who will win his affections. So it's basically like a harem where these two hot as fuck girls fight over this stupid, like, nose picking idiot.
Damn, if I didn't know
As
better, I would think Kat's seen
nothing.
anime before.
Yeah, as he literally does nothing and stumbles around and somehow becomes invaluable to the military. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Every
in this
man's
anime.
dream.
So
Every
yeah,
man's dream.
it was funny because, like Kat was saying, this anime expects us to believe that Japan is taking in thousands of Chinese refugees because of this war. Whereas, like, I looked up this Business Insider article from like April of 2018 that indicated that in 2017, Japan accepted 20 refugees. 20!
20 refugees
out of 19,000 some applications.
That's almost worse. That's actually worse than us. I thought we were one of the worst
ones.
ones.
No, not even close.
Oh,
we accept many, many more. Like, and over the 5 years prior to like 2018, fewer than 100 total refugees.
Fucking 20, Japan. 20. We should get a rolled up newspaper and smack their nose for that. That's some bullshit.
So I was just like laughing when they were like, "Oh yeah, Japan's taking in all these Chinese refugees," because I was like, as if that would actually happen.
Well, and the Japanese and the Chinese hate each other.
Yeah,
like, that would never work.
Yeah, they're not on good terms.
So okay, other fun stuff about this stupid show is the girl's plane. Well, also, technically, the girl, as we find out later, kind of is the plane. Because she is like an interface called an anima, and the plane is called a daughter. And so, but like basically in mind and soul, she is like the heart of the plane. The plane doesn't fly without her. So, like, essentially the show is set up so Japanese plane otaku can fuck the plane. And that's really what the show's about.
Yeah, it's like, did you ever want to feel like your dick was invaluable to the plane functioning?
Yep.
Watch this anime, because in this anime, without his dick and without his basically like preferring her over his childhood friend, the plane won't work anymore.
Haven't you made this argument before? It sounds very familiar
What
to
if
me.
someone actually came to you from the military, Bcom, and was like, listen, we need your gold shiny dick in order to make our fighter pilots like work.
Okay.
We need them to make our fighter planes
But the cute
function.
chick comes with it, right?
Yeah, but like
he's
you
totally
have
on
to be
board.
on call like a stud 24 hours a day to fuck whatever plane needs to go in the air next.
That sounds like a really good deal to me, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't see a problem here.
Like, what if you had to be woken up? Like, what if you're like taking a shit and you have to be like, oh shit, I gotta go now?
I guess.
I mean,
What if like
every
four
job
of
has
them
its
had
risks.
to go off? What if
Look.
like four of them had to go off like at the same time and you had to quickly try and get them all in?
for king and country, obviously, I will do my duty.
For king and country. I love it.
So, okay, she is specifically...
This would have actually been better as a hentai. They should have made this
Maybe.
a hentai.
It's borderline a hentai, like, yeah, I don't know. So, specifically, she is a JAS-39 Gripen, which is a Swedish fighter pilot craft. And I actually know a lot about this plane, kind of, because when I was on vacation in Florida, I was meeting up with some of my relatives who are from Sweden. And we were going to these, like aircraft like museums for like World War II and on like aircraft, and we ended up talking about like Swedish aircraft because like my Swedish relatives wanted to be like, oh well, we have really good fighter planes too, blah blah blah. And so they were laughing though because in 1993 one of them was actually at this water festival in Stockholm, Sweden, where a Gripen crashed right in the middle of Stockholm. There's YouTube footage of it so you can look at it, because it had a faulty flight control system that would just like go scatterbrained and like turn off. And so like the pilot had to eject. Luckily nobody was injured by this crash, like
So
right
you
in the
can
middle
say
of the
the
thing.
character is kind of based off
Yes.
the actual plane itself.
Exactly. So the reason the girl is scatterbrained is because the actual plane's flight system is scatterbrained. And it's like the inside joke for like jet otaku that's why she's like so like off. So yeah, that part was kind of funny
So that
to
just
me.
makes me wonder if the other girls are going to have like the same thing going for them.
Yeah, I assume they'll have like little quirks based on their planes. I also didn't like that, like, so there's this scene where Minghua breaks down crying because Kei has like gone to the airbase and like he wants to join the like JASDF to like join the Air Force. And she's like, you're the only person in this country that I know. You can't leave me behind to go to the military. But we learned like earlier in the episode that they're like living at Kei's grandfather's house. And she seems to know the grandfather because he told her oh, you don't need to do all this putting on a maid outfit and doing the gardening around the house. You're my guest. But apparently she's Kay is the only one she really knows. I just thought that was lessened by the fact that clearly they're living with somebody they know. So that just seemed dumb. I don't know. I don't. Do I have anything else? The main girl just reminds me of the main character of the pet girl of Sakura, so where she's just extremely dumb, sleepy.
That was many. That was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a while back. But I always think of that girl when it's this character type where it's the beautiful maiden who has nothing in her head.
Yeah. So I see all these faults you guys are picking up, but I was still kind of interested in the show.
Of course you were, Leo.
Explain. Of course. Why? Why, of course?
Because you're the same person who passed that battle show with all the big-titted girls.
What?
Armed girls Machiavellianism.
Yeah, that one.
There was nothing. I have to keep using this argument. There was nothing better that season.
My God, Leo, there had to have been something better than that show. Don't talk bullshit to me. You know exactly why you passed that show. It had to do with what was right on her chest. Come on. Let's be real. There are two reasons why you passed that show, and they were both bouncing in your face in the first episode while you watched it.
Well, torturing Bcom was definitely one of them,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, that was definitely a big part of it as also.
So, I'm legitimately, I kind of like the relationship between Kay and Minghua.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, if that literal situation happened, I guess it's kind of believable. And I'm also curious about, the enemies. We don't know anything about them, who they are, the aliens, or are they some, rogue force, who knows?
Yeah.
I think the show looks fine. The plane fight was whatever, but it's no Magnificent Kotobuki. I do like the mystery behind why Grippin keeps falling asleep after 3 hours and why the other soldiers don't seem to like her.
Yeah.
If this season wasn't as slow and bad as it is, I probably wouldn't have actually given this anime as much thought as I did. Because I'm grasping for good shows and trying to find anything.
I will say I can tell they're trying to sell a lot of merchandise with this anime.
Sure, yeah.
Because all of the girls and I'm sure there's going to be a ton, because if you see the ED, it's full of these other hot chicks who turn into planes.
There's at least 3 fighter plane girls, so yeah.
Yeah, and they all have their own colors and aesthetic, and I can just see the models now. And they'll all cost $200 each.
Oh god. Yep, pretty much.
As all of the models that are expensive cost.
Yeah, in the only thing I'll mention in the second episode, there's a stupid thing where the commander of at the airbase sends Grippin over to his house with orders to just do whatever he wants to do with you. Do not disobey him. You are not to resist anything he wants. Because basically he realizes that the what's her name? Grippin won't power up anymore unless she's turned on by Kay, like we were saying. So now he just wants them to bed down because because he needs this stupid fighter plane to work. So yeah, it's really dumb. It's really stupid. Anyway, let's move on.
The next show's stupid too.
It is. The Quintessential Quintuplets, Gotobun no Hanayome, is based off a manga. It's from Tezuka Productions, the studio. And the director is Satoshi Kuwahara, who also did Dagashikashi 2, Blackjack from 2004, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal.
So I do read this manga, and it's really dumb. Some of the girls are just straight up bitches. And then of course she falls in love with them anyways, and they keep doing the same stupid gag where they'll all change their hairstyle so they all look alike, and they're like, hey, can you tell which one's who? If you can, then you must really care for them and like them. Oh god, yeah, this is the 5th time you guys have done this already. Stop it.
They just don't have any more ideas, because they all look exactly the same except for their hair, basically. He even does something in episode 2 where he goes to Yotsuba, who's the cutesy airheaded one, and is hey, can you furrow your brows for a second? When she does, she looks exactly like Itsuki, the main girl with the red hair. So yeah, it's that's the whole joke. And the other mystery of the show is we're introduced to him marrying one of them. And
we have to see which one.
Which one is it? She has red hair, so is it Itsuki? I don't know.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know. The main guy, he's like this incredibly cheap dude because his family doesn't have much money. They're in debt. He like goes to school and like he's figured out that if he orders like the beef combo but without the beef, like he gets more than just ordering rice. So that's like his go-to meal. And he like sits down at the same time as this like rich girl named Itsuki who has like a really nice lunch and all this stuff. She like bought like, I don't know, $10 worth of lunch compared to his $2. And he's like really upset. And then he figures out basically that she needs a tutor, but like he's like made a bad impression on her already. So he needs to make it up to her somehow. Long story short, he gets to their house to like go tutor her. And it turns out they're like, she has 4 other identical sisters. They're quintuplets and they're all terrible students and they all don't want to be tutored.
If you had to pick one, which one?
I think the one that's voiced by Kana Hanazawa, which is Ichika. She's the one who has the room all the way at the end of the hallway with like the huge mess, and she's just sleeping naked.
Oh, the one with the short hair.
Yeah, I think I would probably pick her at first, though I like Miku as well, the girl with like the headphones.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite, probably.
She's fun. She gets a lot of focus in episode 2 because, like, so basically, he's going to go one by one and convince these girls that, like, they need to be. He needs to be their tutor, and like, he's going to find a way in. It was like that show a bunch of seasons back with that little kid who became a tutor. Oh god, I can't remember what it was called. Like the Royal Tutor, I think it was called. It's basically the exact same thing, except with more harem shenanigans.
I think we put Kat to sleep.
This show is so boring, guys. Come on.
It's just like it's just a harem ecchi. Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, does it even have a plot? It doesn't. Like, come on.
Well, what about his like little sister though, Kat, with her ridiculous like hair like style, like where it just like pops up like 3 feet out of her head? Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so good. The second episode gets into Miku, and it's like, oh, she's really into Sengoku Jidai like warlords. So that's like Futaro's like in to like get her interested in learning. Also, he makes them all take a collective test, right? And it turns out that none of them get the same 2 answers right, but between the 5 of them, they got every question on the test correct. So, like, together, they could all be good and they could all teach each other, blah, blah, blah. It's really dumb. It's a stupid harem show. It's got lots of boobs and, like, fan service. You might like it.
It has boobs.
It does have boobs.
And there are twins. You can imagine yourself fucking all of the quintuplet girls.
But you might not know which one is which could lead to something.
But does it matter when they're going, It doesn't matter.
Probably doesn't matter. Any other thoughts on that, Leo, before we move on?
No.
Okay.
Don't watch it, people. Save yourself. Unless you're going to enjoy trash watching.
Yeah, if you just want to have fun with like an ecchi harem, there's worse you can do with this. Like I had more fun with this. Like I don't think there's anything like really aggressively offensive about this show. Which is like an extremely low bar. But like given some of the ecchi harems we've had recently, like I think this is more enjoyable than a lot. So yeah. Anyway,
okay.
Grimm's Notes the animation.
This show is also a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I could not even follow it very well. Like, apparently the plot of the first episode is there's a girl, but she looks sweet, but she's actually an evil girl. But then, don't we feel bad for her anyway?
Well, she's literally Red Riding Hood. Well, she's like an incarnation of Red Riding Hood because there's also a grandmother in the show who was the original Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh gosh. Basically, you follow a group of adventurers who'll go from Disney versions of fairy tales and fix them when a chaos teller messes up their stories.
It's like Japan saw Disney movies and was like, you know what we should do? We should make these Disney characters into magical girls, and then they can like all join their powers.
Oh
in
my
some
god! The one guy, of course, turns
pose.
into Alice too. I'm like, God damn!
Come on,
Japan with Alice. They're obsessed.
I know they do the magical girl pose thing, and I'm like, what? You can't. No, like stop it. Yeah. I was mad.
And then like the second episode, it's on like Don Quixote's story as well. And so because he solved Red Riding Hood's problems in the first episode. In the second episode, he summons Red Riding Hood instead of Alice at the end to like use her to win the fight.
So what's going to help him by turning into Don Quixote's in the next episode? Because he wasn't powerful.
I don't know. It's pretty.
I just don't think that the plot is even that good. Like, you have these, like,
it's not,
you know, fairy tale characters, and then everyone is supposed to know what they're gonna do for the rest of it. Like, I don't know. It just, I can't. And it doesn't seem to be put together very well. Like, it could have been good, and I was a little excited for it, but it's just not that good.
And I didn't care who these main characters were at all.
Yes, exactly, Leo. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, who cares about this little RPG party of like 4 people? Like, obviously, yes, this is based on a mobile game RPG from Square Enix, like, as you would expect.
Which, as we've resolved, is one of the main rules of our podcast. It's based on a mobile game. Run the fuck away.
Yeah. One of the only interesting parts of this is that, like, the idea that fairy tale characters are locked into their life's path from birth, like these like reincarnations of Red Riding Hood, are destined to live out that like destiny that they've planned for them. But that idea was like way more interestingly explored in an actually good anime called Princess Tutu. So I highly suggest checking that out instead of this if you want to watch something similar. I don't think we ever said this is from Studio Brainspace, who, like, I don't remember the last time they did a good show now. And director Seiki Sugawara from Defrag and Rinne. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just nothing going for this one. I'm not interested. And I just realized I fucking forgot to watch the 2 episodes of Karakuri Circus.
I didn't. I forgot to watch them too.
Listen, we all know that the show is now a piece of shit.
Right, we do.
None of us want to watch it. It makes me physically ill to imagine having to sit down and watch Karakuri Circus. I'm not doing it.
Who was it? JD who said, like, episode 15 is just like so bad and insane, so batshit insane, just like so bad.
And I saw like a tweet like today or yesterday from, I think, James Beckett of ANN, who's still watching the show, and said something like, "I figured it out. Karakuri Circus is actually like Games Done Quick speed run of the manga, where the narrators have figured out ways to just like glitch through large sections of chapters in the manga and like come out on the other side."
That makes sense.
That's what it feels like. It's like just skipping large swaths of the manga. So we were really down on this at the end of last season. I don't think anything in episodes 13 or 14 was going to resurrect this one. I feel bad about not seeing it, but
when a show goes this bad, I almost feel like it should be excusable for them to all convene in a meeting, and they should have like a special word for a meeting like this, kind of like how like we in the US have like a, or like in England, don't they have like a no confidence vote?
Oh yeah.
For like they should have an equivalent of that for anime, right? Where like in the middle of the season they can all get together and just have a no confidence vote of the anime. The whole staff can. And then they can just all agree that they're not going to go anymore because no one is watching it and everyone hates it. Yeah. And just then all walk away and go help all of the other shows who desperately need animators. I think that's a good policy. I think that actually should be adopted.
It would have to be like the anime production committees would have to be the one mostly making those decisions, unfortunately, because they control all the money strings. But I don't know. Yeah, that one's not good. So let's move on to Fridays.
Oh, no.
Where we have Boogiepop and Others. Let me introduce this one. So Japanese title, Boogiepop wa Warawanai. That's a hard word to pronounce. It's the 2019 version because there's a 2000 show also called Boogiepop wa Warawanai. It's based on the light novel, which is extremely famous, like one of the original super popular light novels from Japan. The studio is Madhouse. And the director is Shingo Natsume, who is director of One Punch Man, Space Dandy, and Aka. Also noteworthy
Space Dandy.
Yeah, music by Kensuke Ushio, who did the music for Space Dandy, Liz and the Bluebird, Ping Pong the Animation, and Devilman Crybaby. Incredibly good, like talented music composer. So, what do you guys think about this show?
In the first episode, I really didn't have an opinion yet. I didn't know where the show is going to go. The one good thing to say about the show is I really like the ED.
The ED is really good, actually. Yeah, I actually kind of like the OP as well. It's nice. Yeah.
And at the end of episode 1, I was like, okay.
I was actually intrigued at the end of episode
Yeah,
1.
I was like, I can watch this. I want to see what happens in episode 2.
Mhm.
yeah.
And I watched episode 2 and I wanted to throw my fucking computer monitor.
Yeah,
What
because
the
okay, in
hell
episode
was
1
going
at
on?
the end, right? They say, "Oh, the Boogiepop or whatever says like I'm leaving now because the threat is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't need to be here anymore." And you're like, "Okay." And then they go into episode 2. They don't tell you that episode 2 is part of a flashback. They just go into it.
Mhm.
You feel it feels like it's just a continuation from the very last episode, not a fucking flashback.
Yeah,
I was
it
halfway
has
through
no
the episode with both my hands on my head trying to figure out what the fuck, and I was like, this has to be a flashback, right? This is the only way this can be remotely explainable, right? And like, I think finally at three quarters of the way in, it finally says something about a flashback. But then even then, like, shit just happens that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Mhm.
It's just, there are parts of
Wow.
this anime where you are so confused because they keep changing the timeline and they don't tell you they're changing the timeline. You have no idea what's going on. Maybe if we had I have not watched the original Boogiepop, and so I think maybe there's something we're missing in it
No,
that
so
you would know.
the original Boogiepop is based off the first light novel, but it's basically a spin-off. It doesn't like closely follow like the story of the light novel. So you're supposed to be able to watch this show completely without having watched that.
Well, I heard that, but like from watching the show, it's so confusing that the only thing I can think is that there must be something we're missing, because no one would write a show that's this confusing plot-wise.
Well,
Yeah.
there was also something really, really weird I couldn't figure out. So one of the characters, the girl, Token Miyashita,
Yeah.
she was killed in the flashback, but she was alive in the first episode, or I'm completely confusing her with somebody else.
I think you might be confusing her with somebody else who was killed in the flashback, because a lot of these girls look exactly the fucking same.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
That might have been there, because I was sitting there and I was like, is this I don't even know, dude. I so fucking lost by the
Because
end of that
Toka
second
is still
episode.
alive in the flashback at the end of the episode 3, where she's walking with like the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so
There's like a
turned
girl
off.
named like Naoko, I believe, who dies. There's a couple girls who die, but
Yeah, so like I was so turned off. I absolutely did not want to watch episode 3 because I don't know what the hell's going on.
So apparently one of the biggest problems with this is that the light novel has a ton of inner monologue for the main characters, like who are the perspective characters, that is like almost entirely cut out of the anime. And so there's like all of this context just gone. And the anime kind of expects you to like piece together what's happening, and it just doesn't work very well. And like, so I also made a huge mistake, I feel like, in watching like the first 6 episodes of Boogiepop Phantom, which is the 2000 adaptation we were just talking about, before I watched this show. Because holy shit, that show is so good. Like, that show has like the same aesthetic as like Serial Experiments Lane. It's like this beautiful, dark, like twisted show. And all of the characters, their designs are more interesting. They're also like kind of designed older, because, you know, back in the 2000s, like when they were portraying high school characters, they didn't look like little kids. They looked like adults, basically. So like take like Sao Tome, who in this show is the guy who's paired up with like the Manticore and is like sort of enabling her to like eat like girls around the school.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like they just have this other girl, and her whole like plot in this show seems to be eating like other people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah. Like in Sao
I
Tome.
wasn't buying it. I wasn't impressed.
Satome's job is sort of like finding girls for her to eat and stuff, and like spreading their influence, making slaves out of people, blah, blah, blah. But in like the original Boogiepop Phantom, he's like so much cooler. Well, not even cooler, but just like more unsettling of a character, like mysterious and like kind of horrifying, intimidating. Here he's just like a generic like light novel, like bad guy. And he just does not feel the same intimidating way that he did in Phantom. And even like Kirima Nagi, who is like the girl who is on the side of Echoes, who is that guy with the long white hair you see like stumbling through the streets in like Shibuya in the first episode. She is like way cooler in Phantom too, because like she's like fighting against them, and she is here, but it's just like so toned down from how it felt in Phantom, where she was just like a complete badass, and here she's just like kind of cool. Like her father is the guy who wrote these books on like split personality disorder and stuff. And so that's like her into understanding these people, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, like the part of the show I was looking forward to most was the soundtrack because of Ushio coming off of Liz and the Bluebird and Devilman. And like even that has been like really understated so far. He's going for this like weird, like airy feeling, this like floaty vibe of like electronic synths. And it just puts me to sleep as I'm watching these episodes because the dialogue is just so monotonous. And then there's like this airy stuff behind it. And I find myself just like tuning out of what's going on because I'm so bored. And then the last thing is just like, it feels a lot like Parasite to me because it's like, oh, these aliens have come, like they've inserted themselves in human bodies and they're like trying to take over and we're trying to fight against that basically. It felt a ton like Parasite and I like Parasite probably more than this show, or at least early on, because it just had a better hook with like Migi and Shinichi. I don't know. This one just feels like out of time, out of place. And like it's taking way too long to get anywhere interesting that I'm just like, I don't know about this.
If it had a coherent plot, I think we would be watching this because it's well made. And there were parts of it that made me go, ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, it's intriguing. But like they just don't pull it together well.
Yeah.
It's not watchable because the plot is so confusing. And so basically I would say, don't watch this. If it's even a little intriguing to you, go watch the first Boogiepop because that's what this show made me want to do.
And like the nail in the coffin for me, I watched episode 3 and there's like a big fight between Manticore and Echoes. And the way they animate this fight, they're just like flipping around, like doing cartwheels on this like school roof. And it looks so dumb that I was just laughing. So I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it's they probably want me to think this is cool. And I'm just like, no, I can't.
I think I've seen a GIF of that.
Yeah. I think it's been on Twitter and everything because people looked at it and rightfully went, that looks really stupid. So I don't know. Poor Boogiepop. Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe read the light novels even but like Phantom I can say is pretty good. It's very interesting. It's the same mysterious kind of thing, but the mystery is just like way more interesting than that adaptation of it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's talk about Lolly Queen who doesn't understand war. The Price of Smiles.
This fucking show is a piece of shit.
Okay, Cat.
As well. This whole season is just a pile of turds, and you have to dig through the pile of turds in order to find the few that you can stand to touch.
I can't believe you would call Tatsunoko Productions' 55th anniversary show a piece of shit, Cat. How dare you?
It's lollybait. It's literally a prepubescent girl that looks like a 4-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
Who you're supposed to sexualize.
You know, they don't really focus on her that much to me to think that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's like tame on that end of things just compared to like other anime, even this season. Like that in terms of like sexualizing her. I don't like the way she's dressed
too
though.
bad,
like,
but I mean, like look at her outfit.
Yeah, like the plunging neckline down her back is like ridiculous. Like, yeah.
You're obviously supposed to sexualize her at least somewhat.
Anime being anime, a little bit of this stuff I tend to turn a blind eye to, and really that she's the only one in here, so it's whatever. I mean, my eyes are on that Layla chick. She was damn. The one with the glasses, her aide.
Yeah.
I also just didn't think it was that interesting. Like there's a point where one girl like tries to like argue with her, and then they just turn it into like, oh, she handled it so well. Look how great the ruler is at handling these people, even though she's only like, what, 12 or something? I don't even remember.
Yeah, she's really young. She looks like she's 10 to 12, some maybe 13 at the most, but like she's really tiny.
And then there's like an interstitial where there's like a weird fighting thing that didn't really make sense. And then her knight like left. I could not get into this. Like I was watching it and I was just like, what?
Yeah, so like
I like the first episode.
Oh yeah, tell us what you liked about it, Leo.
Yeah, tell us.
I thought the mech battle in it was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. I liked that too, actually. Because I also liked that.
What was the reason for the mech battle? Because like it seemed sort of like they pulled it together out of nowhere just to pull it together.
No, it was that the brother and sister Uni and Izane, they challenged Joshua to a duel. To a duel because basically they said something to the princess and that piss Joshua off.
Well,
Whatever.
but like nothing actually. Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
It's just
the
like,
other point of it is to show you that the princess is actually like sort of like a skilled strategist, because like when she takes Joshua's side, like she turns the battle in his favor, like very quickly. So she's not completely useless, I think, was like the main message of that scene.
I was also kind of intrigued that they were keeping the princess in the dark about what was truly happening at the border, and I was like, whoa, what are they going to do with that? Why would they? Well, then episode 2 happens.
Yes, it does.
And just, major spoiler, Joshua gets killed. The princess finds out and fucking freaks. And then the episode ends. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy because they like whisk her away to like near the front lines. And she's like, where am I going? What's going on? Because like nobody has told her there's a war. Like, she doesn't
and she's
know.
like, she sees all the equipment, like some of it damaged, some of it you can see where it's been hit with like shells or it's like black soot on it. And she's like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, she's like, why is this happening? What's going on? She hasn't left like the city she's been in for like 10 years or something. She said,
I don't think ever.
Yeah.
Well, so it may get better, but like, if she comes back later and is like, now that I know this,
like
I'm better or whatever.
I wonder if how this is going to change her as a ruler. That's what I'm interested to see.
That would be interesting to see, but like I just don't know if I trust it to do anything good with it. But you're right that if it does something with that, it could end up being a good show, even though the first few episodes were not great.
Yeah, because it's going to be like these clashing ideologies, because it's her monarchy, which is run by her, which is like she believes that everybody should smile and it should be peaceful, but she doesn't understand the reality of the world where they're going against this military dictatorship, this empire that obviously does not feel the same way. Though we haven't still been introduced to, there's like in the OP and the ED, there's this other girl who is clearly on the military dictatorship side, who I assume she and Yuki are going to become acquainted or become friends and try to forge a peace between these two like differentiating or different ideologies.
There was some things in the second episode that I was starting to get a little nitpicky on, but it was because there was too many. So like the level of their technology, and they have somehow lost the power of flight. What?
Yeah.
What?
That's pretty dumb.
And then like their crops are dying, and they make it clear that they came from Earth. And I'm like, and you didn't take the concept of crop rotation with you?
Yeah, I didn't really understand why their crops were dying. Who knows? Like, maybe they were doing crop rotation. It's just some like...
No, they did something specifically that told me they were not doing crop rotation.
Oh, okay. God.
Yeah, I can't remember
I love
now.
how we're so focused on this, probably because we live in fucking Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
We're like,
crop rotation.
they're crops. They're obviously not planting well. Like, what?
Well, I mean, geez, I can't get to my car from my back door without walking through a cornfield here.
That's true.
I think the CGI mech stuff is like okay. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad either.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm totally fine with it.
Looks fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a very like mixed reception for me for this show, I guess. You want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka, or Mahou Shoujo Tokushusen Asuka, is a
You
manga.
are not actually that excited.
No, I'm not. It's a manga adaptation from Studio Leiden Films, from director Hideo Yamamoto, who's directed Strike the Blood and The Prince of Tennis, too.
These have been really popular recently.
Yeah, the
These,
dark
like,
magical girl shows. Yeah.
The really bloody, dark magical girls. I think everyone just got tired of like the cutesy stuff. And they're like, we just want to see people rip each other apart in magical girl uniforms.
And this one's so like weird too. Cause like it's set in this world where Earth is like recovering from this war against these aliens called Disas, who are like teddy bears who are evil. And Earth like allied with this other alien race that had like some spiritual powers to create magical girls who could fight with the help of like spirits that are like floating typical anime sidekicks that say like choo choo like all the time, like kind of thing.
Like the weird, what's the one where all of the girls have to sacrifice like parts of their body?
Ooh. I don't know.
Yuki Yuna is a hero or whatever.
Yeah.
I never watched that.
Well, that show's much better than this, I feel like, actually.
Well, but like they're sidekicks, I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The main character of the and one of the leader of this group of 5 magical girls who were like the badasses is named Asuka, and they took down the final boss of the Disas and ended the war. Like,
I want to see the fight up to the final boss because they lost 4 of them on the way there.
I feel like you'll get some flashbacks. Yeah, we saw them like holding some dog tags of like some of the other girls like who had passed. But now it's like 3 years after the war, and Asuka has like tried to transition back to normal life. And like when the show did this is when I let out my first big like sigh, because it's like, oh, they're back at school. It's just like, of course it's at school.
Well, also when they were magical girls, they were in middle school, though they looked the exact same still in high school.
Yeah.
What are they eating over there? These are very well developed middle schoolers.
That's a very good point. I don't know what they're doing. Well, they are magical girls, so it's a magic chest enhancement procedure, I assume.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's made like these friends at school. There's like a track club friend and a literature club friend. And both of them are sort of like helping her take her mind off of like the horrors of her past. And speaking of that, like she remembers this time when like these 2 little Disas, these little teddy bears, showed up in her house when she got home. And she was like, "Where are my parents?" And she's like, they're like, "Don't worry, we're going to give them back to you piece by piece." And she like, she opens a box.
That's exactly what happens.
Exactly. She opens a box and like one of her parents' like severed hands is in there. And I was like, oh shit.
This sounds you know what? I love shows like this though. I know they're trash. I know it's terrible, but like this is the same reason I watch Magical Girl Sight, even though it's a piece of shit. Like it's epic.
It gave me like a feeling of that for sure. Like that scene in particular was like, oh, Magical Girl Sight all over again. But yeah, Asuka is now like determined not to fight, even when her like old commander from the Spec Ops group comes asking for her, because like he just like wants her to fight against like terrorism and international crime, even though the Disas are supposedly gone. And she's like, "No, I'm happy where I am now. I don't want to do this anymore." Blah blah blah. But then this like terrorist group breaks out one of their leaders, and they're like shooting AK-47s at police in the middle of the street. And it just so happens that like Asuka's friend from the literature club gets caught up like right in the middle of this. Yeah.
I was hoping they would kill her, and then her track friend would like fucking go crazy. I'm like, if this trash just wants to be edge garbage, please go all the way.
Yeah, I could have seen that happening too. But no, Asuka shows up in time to save her, and like gorily just like tears through this team of terrorists. Like she cuts the leader guy's like legs off at the ankles, and like gores some other guy into like 3 pieces. There's like tons of blood, blah blah blah. And I think the other thing I found out in like episode 2 is that like the track girl, her father is like a counterterrorism intelligence agent, though her daughter knows nothing about this. She just thinks he works like a desk job. So like it seems like these 3 girls are all completely caught up in this whole thing. There's also this like other magical girl who's like a woman who is just busting out of her bikini in every scene she's in, who seems to be working with the terrorists to try to like get something to happen. And also one of the other magical girls who is like introduced in more depth in episode 2 is like a war nurse. Like her big weapon is a giant magical syringe, so she could either heal or like poison people with it.
She was one of the 5 girls that defeated the demon boss, right?
Yeah, she's one of the big 5.
I didn't get to watch the second episode. I didn't think I could stomach it.
Yeah, I think her name's Karumi. Yeah, so there's like a lot of fan service in the show. Like in the first 3 seconds, Asuka is like in a naked transformation sequence, and like she transforms into like a Lolita maid outfit, and then there's that other woman who's like constantly laying around like half naked. So there's like a lot of that. And just like a lot of like stupid darkness for darkness's sake. I don't think it's like a terrible show, but it just doesn't stand out very much from other dark magical girl shows. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll probably watch it because I love this sort of shit, but I'm aware that it's shit. Maybe if the one that I'm thinking of locking ends up being terrible, I'll just trash watch this and make you all trash watch it with me.
God damn it.
So you better hope it turns out well.
These
better
locks.
hope so, Leo.
These locks were a bad idea.
I love locks. but I don't love
this will
them.
be like Junji Ito all over again. You remember that?
You know what I love
Dude, that was
locking?
bad.
I love locking my domestic girlfriend in my bedroom with me. It's so good.
Oh my god.
Domestic no
Yum.
Kanojo, another manga adaptation from Studio Diomedia. The director is Shota Ibata, who did Girlish Number, which I like that show actually a lot.
I dropped this fucking manga.
Uh-huh.
That is a huge warning. Just get away from it. It's total trash.
Sounds
I
like
know it's
sounds like
trash,
I'll love it.
but it's entertaining.
Sounds like I'll love it then. So, okay, I will say this show is just a glorified hentai in like
It is.
in a classy TV anime form, because like the whole premise is like goofy hentai level story.
It's like my dad is remarrying this woman, and she has 2 daughters, and they're both hot, and I want to bang both of them, and I
Yup.
actually did bang one of them. Oh no! Yeah,
it's
fuck.
awkward. The main dude, Natsuo, he's like a bit of a nerd, of course, and he goes to this like mixer, this karaoke mixer with some friends and some girls. And one of the girls, Rui, he gets to talking with by like the fountain drink machine, whatever. And she's just basically like, do you want to like come back home with me? And they get there and she's like, do you want to have sex? And she's like, because like basically all my friends seem to be in front of me and I don't want to like fall far behind. So I want to have the experience so I don't feel like awkward around them anymore. And like he basically thinks about it for like 5 seconds. He's like, yes. And like afterwards she's like, well, I don't really feel that different as a person. Like I'm like she's not like unhappy about the sex, but she's just like, I thought I would feel different like after losing my virginity, but she doesn't really. And then at school, Natsuo clearly has a crush on his super hot teacher named Hina, who he has this like really like flirty relationship with, which very not okay. She has some issues clearly on her mind that he keeps trying to get her to talk about, but she keeps saying they're like adult problems that he shouldn't worry himself about. So, but yeah, like they were like Leo Cat said, long story short, turns out that Natsuo's dad is getting remarried and his fiance has 2 daughters and they are Hina and Rui, one of whom he's already had sex with, one of whom is like the teacher he's in love with. So jackpot, right?
Oh, and then there's like constant like, oh no, I'm naked scenes. Like at one point, doesn't the teacher come out from the shower and it's just like, that was great, and she's like not wearing anything.
Yeah, because she hasn't
and
adjusted
like,
to the fact that she has like male family.
Oh yeah, like and then she's like, oh no, like so dramatically.
I forgot that happened in the manga.
I forgot that I'm not wearing a thing, and I'm just like, come on, that's not the way life works.
And even when she does put on clothes, she's very casually dressed. She's got like a tank top, very short shorts, and she falls asleep on the couch that night. And Natsuo, who's like still adjusting to everything, he's still figuring out like how the hell he's going to handle this situation, basically says like to himself, all right, I'm just going to try and steal one kiss from her and that'll be the end of it. I'll like turn off my feelings after that. And so he goes in to try to kiss her.
Oh, because that's how it works.
Yeah. He tries to kiss her and then like Rui walks in and sees this, and then it becomes a big deal because like obviously she questions about it in like the next episode. When, of course, they're naked in the bath together. I was thinking Bunny Girl this whole time. Fucking bath conversations. And Rui's like, so did you kiss her to, like, cheer her up? And this is when, like, they kind of figure out together that Hina has this affair going on. And, like, the guy's not treating her well, and that's why she's, like, very upset. And so Rui thought that Natsuo knew about this and was trying to kiss Hina to, like, to cheer her up or something. And she kind of would have been okay with that, I guess. Rui and Natsuo have also just, like, agreed to, like, not fucking talk about what happened between them. Like ever. And like also Natsuo tells like Hina and Rui like, let's not talk about our relationship at school at all, because that would be awkward too. I don't know. It's just there's all bunch of drama going on. Natsuo also has this friend who wears glasses who is like just like giving him advice the whole time, and it's actually like kind of good advice, honestly. I kind of like that guy. But yeah, the whole thing is just like sexual tension between all 3 of them, like constantly. And just like really dramatic stuff.
It's basically like, ooh, I want to bang both these people. Ooh, I get them both in my life constantly. And yeah, I mean, we all know it's fan service. We all know it's trash. But I have to give the show a bonus star for the fact that there's actual sex that occurred in this anime
Yeah.
in the first episode, no less. And that, for me, I have to at least try,
Yeah.
right? We have to at least try this anime because to me, that is a huge deal. It's a step in the right direction. Japan needs this. We have to cover it.
I will also give it a bonus star because both Rui and Hina are super fucking hot and extremely my type. So I'm like so into this show. Like I love it. As trashy and soap opera as it is, I just want to see how like dumb it can get. Like I'm so excited.
Can I just tell you?
No.
Outside?
Absolutely not. Don't want to know. Never want to know. I'm in for the ride for this one. I don't know. I'm very excited.
Jesus.
It's like well animated too. It's like decently well animated, and the OP is so good. It's like that like woman like playing at a piano and like singing, and like there's all this like really good imagery in it. Like I really like the OP too, so it just gets me hype every time. Yeah, good show. Did anybody watch B Project season 2?
No.
Okay, then I think it's time for us to take a short break.
Good. I need a break after that fucking last show.
Yeah.
God damn.
I gotta go think about Domestic Girlfriend alone for a little bit. I'll be back.
You need to go edit some podcasts.
No, never. Be right back.
The following is an extract from Reanimator Pod episode 47, Blood, Blood, Blood. Taka discusses Des Irae.
Most of the characters in the show, particularly the villains, have more than one name, like many more than one. For example, the super powerful mage from my synopsis is Karl Kraft, also known as Mercurius, also known as Faust, also known as Saint Germain, also known as Paracelsus, also known as Cagliostro, also known as Copophilius Smudge. Woo! Okay, that last one is a Reanimator special, but the rest are all legit. Like, he actually has those names. How about a few more?
He's got more names?
No, they're other characters. He actually had that many names, though. Wilhelm Ehrenberg is Kazikli Bey, because why not? Valeria Trifa is Christoph Lohengrin, who's a priest and is commonly referred to as Father. Lord Heydrich is also Reinhard, and Teresia is Rhea, but Fujiren, aka Zarathustra, is our main character, and also refers to Rhea as Senpai. So we never really learn her name until other characters start calling her Rhea, but really her name's Teresia, so I don't really know how that adds up. Ugh.
And if you like that and you want to hear more from the Reanimator Pod, head on over to reanimatorpod.com. That's reanimatorpod.com. New episodes are out every Monday.
Don't drop that. Hey, don't drop that.
The Trash Pandas bring you this nugget from another trash can. What happens when Brains and Bullets discuss episode 2 of One Punch Man?
Pretty much gene splicing heads. They will
Yep.
they will splice genes. They have a cyborg gorilla. They have a frog that walks on two legs and communicates at long range. Like they got, you think it? They splice.
The Lion King?
Yeah, they have the lion. They have a fucking lion, beast king, and
Simba.
yeah, he's fucking Simba. I don't mean he's fucking Simba. I mean he's fucking Simba.
We at Trash Pandas Watch Anime dig through the trash so you don't have to. You can find the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter where you'll get live updates from what we do.
And we're back. And now we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Woo!
Yay!
Part 5.
So-
Ogan no Kaze.
Yes, Golden Wind. So, okay, I went into the season being like, well, I've never seen any JoJo and I've heard good things about it, but I don't really know if I want to start with just like this one since it's like part 5 or whatever. But Leo convinced me, and it's pretty fucking epic. So you have this,
yes, it
you
is.
have this guy named like Giorno.
Giorno
And-
Giovanna.
You start out the season and he's like he has an interesting moral code, wouldn't you say, Leo?
Oh, this is everybody has very different morals, and that goes through all the JoJos. Everybody is very, very unique.
He's a weird
so
one.
like there's
because he's
there's
split.
times where you see that he has honor, like he doesn't have no honor, but like there are other times where he's like, well, and I'm just gonna steal this now. Like I like it though because it's not like black or white. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting to see. So anyway, you kind of learn more about why he's like that. You get some backstory on him, and then you find out like, okay, so currently he's doing these little like tricks, and then you meet and then he runs into the kid who,
the big thing about his history is he's the son of Dio.
Oh
that's,
yeah,
But
which
he
I know is
also
a
has
big
the
deal
blood of
to you
Jonathan in him.
guys. I don't care about Dio because like,
Yeah, he has Dio
You know.
and Jonathan's blood because he was like he came from a marriage between like Dio, whose head was attached to Jonathan Joestar's body, and some woman. So yeah, he's got like both of them in there. So that's the deal.
He's
with
interesting.
Him.
yeah, but yeah. So and then he meets up with what's the kid's name? Because the kid isn't Bruno. Okay,
the zipper guy.
No, the kid who comes from
he comes from
Japan.
last season. That's
but like he's not
Kyochi.
Yeah. So he meets up with this kid.
Yeah, he's
from Japan.
actually from he's from part 4, which is crazy, and he was a main character in part 4. So him showing up is just kind of like, what?
Okay, so yeah, he shows up and like, of course, Giorno like immediately is like, oh, this guy, I can like fucking like take this kid for everything he has, and proceeds to do so with his stand, and the kid's like, what, and like freaks out. So then like you kind of have that plot line going on, and like him occasionally meeting up with the kid and like all that. And then you also have this other side plot line where Giorno is supposed to pay protection money to this like group in order to be able to do his like little hustles, right? And he, instead of paying it, because he also has to pay the cops protection money, because this is Italy, fucking bitches, and everyone's corrupt. He's like, you know what? I don't want to pay the cops and this like mob gangster group. I'm just gonna pay the cops and not the gangster group. And the gangsters find out, and they like the main guy in that territory comes to like beat his ass, basically. And he has his own backstory. Every single character in this, which I like, has like an in-depth backstory and could be a main character, even if you only see them for like 2 episodes. So he's basically, Giorno kills or basically really injures this guy, and then the mob group sends someone else after him because they're like, well, it looks bad that this guy got really badly injured. Like, we need to do something to keep our reputation intact. And that's Bruno, the zipper guy. And that's when you meet him, and epicness ensues. Because what happens, because Giorno's stand is like, he can make anything like come to life, kind of, which is so interesting because it's almost like he has the power of a woman. Like, it's kind of, if you think about it, it's kind of like that, right?
Like, yeah, like he can turn like a dollar bill into like a fly or something.
Yeah. But like the whole idea behind his power is vaguely weird and interesting. And then you have Bruno, who's like, main thing is he can just put zippers in anything, which sounds dumb until like you realize, oh, he can put zippers in anything, and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah, like he can like separate his own arm or your own arm from your body with like a zipper and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Your like whole throat.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's an epic fight. And then they fight for a while, and then Giorno's like, I really want to clean up this town, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to join the mob for some reason, which I don't really follow that.
Because the mob runs anything, so he needs to infiltrate the mob to have power.
Yeah, I think he's going to take over the mob, and then
he'll have power to change it. But like, it does. I mean, there's a lot of things you could probably do, but like, okay, whatever. So he's like, I'm going to become the head of the mob. For good, for some reason.
It's become a mob psycho.
So that's like the whole plot of the show, kind of. And Bruno, oddly enough, even though he's technically kind of his boss, like Giorno's boss, is sort of also like working for Giorno, I would say, like in spirit.
They've kind of struck a deal.
Yeah, it's interesting. And so then a lot of this show, past that point, is just them like doing different things in order to advance this group, which is run by Bruno and has Giorno in it, and you meet these other characters like along the way. It's them trying to advance their position in the mob, right? With all of these epic side quests and stuff.
Yeah. Well, first
that's what it's been so far.
First, they try to go and get some money that Bruno thinks he has stashed away, but then that turns out to be nothing. And then they get tasked with protecting the big boss, the top of the order boss's daughter, Trish, and that's where we're at now. And they're still trying to protect her, trying to get her from like point A to point B, which is the boss. But there's like another group that's also in this gang, and they want to take over the boss because then they can take like his drug trades and make shit tons of money that way.
Mm-hmm.
But and even they have an interesting backstory because they kind of had these ideas at first, and then two of their members got killed off by the big boss man, and he basically said, "Don't try that again." Yeah, and like right now we're on the train and it's going down. And everybody's old, and Narancia, he's trying to eat a banana, but he's so old and he can't eat the banana, and he's really frustrated about it. It's so good.
The show is just like it's insanely entertaining. Like no matter what is happening, you cannot stop. Like there's not a moment when I watch this anime where I'm bored. And that's not true for a lot of anime, right? Like, so for me, this anime is like A+, and I want to keep watching it.
Yeah, once this is done, you should like just work yourself backwards and check out everything else. It's really good. Like the very, very first JoJo, at Bcom, you've seen that, right? It is.
Yes, at this point, I've finished the first season. Yeah.
Once that ends, the JoJo after that is very much like this, and not like the first one. The first one was like really serious. It's almost strange now when you look back on it, because it was the first, but the rest of the series is completely different.
It kind of like evolves with like the decades that like the characters are in.
Yeah. This is the first one where they're still muscular, Cat, but they're not like bodybuilder muscular. You'll notice that when you go back, you'll be like, what the? Everybody's taking steroids. Their morning routine is 200 push-ups. Yeah. It's a good series.
Yeah, it's pretty
but
cool.
Yeah, no.
It's like visually awesome too. Like just all the animation and like the big fights and like the dancing scene, and it's just like so like visually crazy that it's really fun.
Did we talk about the EDs on here, or was that someplace else?
I don't think we talked about it.
That was separate, but oh my god, the ED for this. It's like
Jodeci.
Every time I close my eyes, I wake up feeling so horny, and I'm like, yeah! Like, just sing it.
I used to fucking listen to Casey and JoJo, who like broke off from that group like in the late 90s, early 2000s.
It was so great. And so Kat's talking about it. I'm like, oh, all his endings are really crazy like that. There was one last season where like they were in Egypt and the ending song was Walk Like an Egyptian or something like that, right? Or the OP, I don't remember. But I was like, no, my favorite one of all time is from it's not Stardust Crusaders. What came out? Diamond is Unbreakable.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying, I never thought I would see an anime that the whole ending song is about wanting to fuck someone so bad.
Yeah.
And that's all you want to do is fuck them. That's epic.
Yeah. So
that's epic.
So yeah, so I queued up that one from Diamond is Unbreakable, and I put that in the chat, and I had Kat listen to it, and it has a slow 10, 15 second build up until you actually recognize the song. I just remember Kat, you were sitting there and it's silence, and then Kat just suddenly goes, "Oh." Because it's Savage Garden. Like you were equally parts like, I remember this song, and anime will use this song.
I know, it's like, what?
That was so amazing when that came out.
It has a weirdly Western tone to the anime, and I would say it's easily, from the first episode I watched this, easily one of the best shows airing right now. Easily.
It usually is one of the top shows every season that comes out. This show just does not let you down.
All right, let's talk about shows that do let us down. With a show called Wise. That is the correct pronunciation of W''Z.
But we will continue to call it Woos, because that is the
English way.
the consensus that all of us podcasters have come to, I think, in chats that we've had. It is pronounced Wooz.
It's
And,
the only
like-
way we can make the show interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
seriously. It is an original anime from Studio Go Hands, who you may know from making a little show called Hand Shakers. I don't think I ever found who the director was for this, but let me tell you, they don't want me to tell you who they are on it. Like,
They're
They want to
ashamed.
remain anonymous.
so it turns out Wise Viz is an actual sequel to Handshakers.
That's right, bitches. They made a sequel to that pile of used condoms.
And it's somehow worse, like, than the original.
I've
Well,
not
I
seen
mean, I
this.
don't know if you can be worse than Handshakers. Let's be honest. Like, it's as bad.
Yeah,
It's
okay, let's just
as
say
bad.
it's as bad, because it's like, this is like the bottom of the barrel. There's no,
Mhm.
you'd have to cut a hole below the barrel,
try to dig through
dig
the
a little
mud.
further down.
The mud below the barrel.
Like, everything about the show is just so off-putting. Like, the soundtrack is so, like, I guess maybe the soundtrack you could consider to be the best part of the show, because it's like the most weird part and kind of inventive part, but like, it's so, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so,
Try to do it.
so
Bcom.
the main character is a DJ, and he goes into other worlds, but they're actually like alternate Osaka. And then he has like a girl who puts on like a mask and dances behind him as he just like rips the DJ turntables. But like, the music is just so bad. I can't even describe it. It's just bad. It's like bad club music. I don't know. Like, really bad club music, but everybody thinks it's amazing. Like, everybody like gets on their smartphone and watches his live stream, and they're all like, "Oh my god, DJ Juice, he's the best! Oh my god!" And it's just like,
Juice.
shut up.
DJ Juice.
It's like the worst thing ever. And everything about the aesthetic is awful. Like, there's characters that just like randomly slide across the screen for no apparent reason. And there's all of these stupid angles they're shooting everything from, like off kilter, Dutch angles, like I would say, Kat. But they're not even Dutch angles. They're just dumb. They're not Dutch angles. They're just dumb angles, because there's no
That's
like
gonna
meaning.
be a fucking joke forever.
And there's just like constantly like shit all over the background of the screen, and there's constant like special effects, and the camera is constantly flying around every which way to like make you sort of excited. But then there's like huge sections of like episode 2, I think, or maybe 3, I don't even remember at this point, because they all blend in, that like characters are just standing at a cafe just talking to each other for like 15 minutes. Just like talking about the exposition, talking about the lore of Handshakers, which I guarantee there is no one in the world who cares about the lore of Handshakers. It's
The
not
lore
possible
of
to care about the
even
lore.
if you could even say that there is lore of Handshakers.
It's
This
the weirdest thing.
sounds so bad.
They made a sequel and they expected you to like care about the original characters, which nobody cares. I can't imagine anybody cares about those characters like Tazuna and whatever the hell the girl's name was. I don't remember. Fuck, I don't know. The one he held hands with in season 1. I don't know. It's just so dumb. It's so bad. Don't watch this. This is, unless like you want to like just watch it to just laugh, because it is good for that, honestly, just to laugh at like, how did this get made? But wow, just wow. The arrogance of making a sequel to Handshakers is like something that may never be topped. That is incredible. Whew. All right. Speaking of incredible, Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
I like your sarcasm.
On Crunchyroll. I'm going to read the whole Japanese title just because it's stupid and long. Kaguya-sama wa kokoro setai tensai tachi no renai zunosen.
Okay,
so, yeah.
I got very little to say about this.
Okay.
It was very hard getting through the first episode.
It's not that bad. Okay, so it's
I
basically
was
about
so bored.
these 2 student council presidents, the president and the vice
Who
president.
have no
right?
personalities.
They do have personalities. So the president is this guy who is from a poor family, but he's kind of arrogant and like he's very fucking smart. The vice president is this girl who's also arrogant and prideful. She's from a rich family, also
Super rich.
arrogant and smart. And the 2 of them like are in love, but neither of them wants to admit that they're in love because whoever admits it first loses power in the relationship. And so the whole anime is them trying to get the other one to admit it first and ask the other one out first. And you have to admit it's kind of cute.
No,
okay?
I'm sitting here and I'm like, stop dragging this out.
So
my only positive was Chika was kind of entertaining. She was a little bit funny, and that's it. I could not even watch the second episode.
I love how dramatic they make things that have no business being dramatic.
I hate it because it has no business.
Well, at one point, there's doesn't the girl basically say like another guy asked me out and I might say yes, and then the guy's like, oh, what do I do? And then there's like da da da, and then
I'm just thinking like, okay, let's say they eventually get together and they start a family. This is the most toxic family I've ever seen in my life.
Toxic family. I mean, you're not wrong, right? Like that family, it would be like,
their
where
children
do we go out
are
for
so
dinner?
fucked up.
It would be like, where do we go out for dinner? And it would be a big dramatic scene like, oh, I really want to go to this place for dinner, so I need to misdirect by saying this place. And then in the other person's mind, they're like,
and I really
have
hope
to strategize.
I really hope one of their kids has like figured out what's going on. They just walk in the room and they're like, we're going to Denny's.
And the kid's like, listen, we can't keep doing this. You're just going to sit here and stare at each other intensely in the room for 2 hours while we are hungry and our stomachs are growling. Let's just go here. And they both look up and go, okay.
Yeah. I think the best point of the show is the direction so far. So the director is Shinichi Omata, who directed Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju and Grand Crest Senki. He's a very talented director, and I think like for what it is, the show like does a lot of like sweeping animation, like over the top like directing that makes it funnier for what it is. Like when I was like rewatching episode 1 and episodes 2 today, like I was noticing that more than I did the first time. But like Leo said, my favorite thing about the show is Chika, especially in the first episode, because the two main characters are such fucking assholes that
she's almost a relief.
Yeah, she's such a relief when she comes in and like they've made all these like stupid calculations about how they're gonna like trick the other one into losing the like current battle that they're a part of, and then Chika just comes in and is like, oh, also these movie tickets could be used for this completely innocuous movie that has nothing to do with what we were talking about before. And then they're like, oh shit, and then their like brains like fry, and like she has like a little like steamed bun on the desk and she like grabs it before they can get to it to eat the sugar and like tosses it up into her mouth. Like it's just cute.
You know what, Bcom, you would think Chika is the best fucking character because all you want in this fucking world is a girl with 2 brain cells to rub together to come be your vapid wife.
Now,
if I had that, if that's what I really wanted, I would have been married so many times over by now.
Now, what about my love for Deanna Del Rey, also known as Pink? Who is very smart.
She is very similar. Well, Deanna's more like a badass, though. Chica's just like an airhead. But
she's
like
a badass,
an adorable
and she's
airhead.
smart. Yeah, but
which
Chica's
is Bcom's type. Girls, if you only have 2 brain cells and are a total airhead, come find Bcom. He lives in a unknown area near New York City. Come find him. He will marry you immediately and lead you around through life as you look around stupidly and giggle and trip over things.
If you want to raise your chances,
you're adorable.
If you want to raise your chances, just watch the ED to the episode 3 where Chika does her dance. And if you send me a video of that dance, I will definitely take that into consideration.
Oh shit, you're so fucked. You're gonna get so many videos of like random guys doing the dance. Listeners, send Bcom your dances.
Guys, you can email us at nerdomandothernonsense@gmail.com. Please do this. This would be fantastic.
Oh
my god,
I'm excited. I want to see.
I wish we had a prize because then we could be like who we thought the best was.
There will be a prize.
We'll figure something out.
Do it. I vow to you now, listeners. There will be a prize. Send your dances.
I might send you my my limited edition Oh God, what is the movie? I want to eat your pancreas tissue box. So when you watch that movie and cry, you can open up and use the tissues.
You know what? They want a real fucking prize, Bcom. If there are more than 2 submissions, I will put up a $50 gift certificate, and whoever fucking wins, we will give it out, and we will make a show of it. It'll be epic. Send your video of the dance from the 3rd episode to Nerdom and Other Nonsense's email, and we will judge them. This will be epic.
Jesus Christ. All right. I guess that's an official thing now.
It is. It's totally an official thing.
Oh, this is great.
Meanwhile, this show, I'm with Leo. Like, I understand, like, we're just going to be trapped with these 2 main characters for, like, however many episodes. Until one of them eventually gives in, but it'll be in a way where, like, they both lost.
I'm calling it right now. It won't happen.
Well, I think something will happen because I saw people going nuts over the manga this week, but that's much further down the line.
Right. Oh, I'm saying it's not going to happen in the anime in these 12 episodes.
I doubt it's going to happen in these 12 episodes.
I agree that it won't happen. I think that it'll just be a big game, and then at the end, it'll be left open. But I'll enjoy the game. Like, it's so dramatic that it's fun to watch. It's like a popcorn watch, right?
Yeah. There's also,
so I'm still going to enjoy it.
There's also this other guy who is in, like, I think the OP, and he's in, like, the art on, like, the poster, and he's always, like, sitting in the back in like, one of the mid cards of the show. He's, like, sitting on the blocks that say Kaguya-sama, and, like, he's, like, facing away, but he hasn't been introduced yet, so I don't know what he's going to add.
Listed as a main character on my anime list, and it's Miyuki Shirogane.
Oh, is that him? Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's 4 main characters, and he's the 4th, I guess.
Oh, no, Miyuki is the main character. I think he's Yu Ishigami. That's the guy. Yeah. Who just looks like he's going to be, like, the treasurer of the student council or something. I don't know. So I don't know what he's going to add that Chika hasn't already added, but that'll be interesting to wait and see. Like, they're clearly putting, like, a lot of effort into this because, like, they're doing a different ED for, like, every episode, and there's all this, like, crazy animation in, like, really mundane scenes. But I just don't know if it's enough to, like, make me interested in the main 2 characters. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they're not, like, super unique characters, but like I said, the drama is what makes me like this. Like, the super over dramatic, like, oh, you know, it's fun. And plus, I mean, we get the Bride of Bcom contest out of this anime. How can you not love it for that?
That's what we're gonna contest.
Yes, that's what we're gonna call it. By the way, the Bride of Bcom contest.
God damn it, this is terrible.
Enter your submissions. I'm not kidding about the gift card.
She's
Enter
not
your
kidding.
submissions,
No,
listener.
Definitely not. Speaking of the Bride of Bcom, let's talk about a show called Endro, which is on Crunchyroll.
Kat, did you watch this show, Endro?
I don't think so.
Okay, if with your permission, may I borrow one of your lines that you love to tell Bcom all the time?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Of course, he would like this fucking show. My opening line and my instructions is: I find it really hard to get past the fact that everybody is a child in a sexy outfit. They're
problem.
Fucking lollies. It's awful.
It's another lolly show. Why are there so many lolly shows? Why can't we get past this?
Because they sell. That's why.
Probably.
You know, if you're looking at 2 girls, and one of them looks like a prepubescent 10-year-old, and the other one has tits, like, why is it more interesting to look at the prepubescent girl?
15 of them.
And that's why I like Domestic Girlfriend so much, is because, like, those girls are, like, actually attractive to me. Even though one of them's in high school, that's a little weird. Let's get past that. It's okay. the teacher definitely very attracted too. Yeah, no, but, like, this show, like, it's not only about that. I'll say, okay, first of all, this is an original show. It's not an adaptation of anything. From Studio Gokumi and from director Kaori, who directed that cute show, like, How to Keep a Mummy, like, last year.
How to keep money.
How to keep a money. It's a finance anime. It's all
You would like that.
how to keep money.
So, okay.
Oh my God.
This show actually had, like, a sort of clever first episode, right? Because it starts out in the first 5 minutes of, like, these 4 girls, like, scantily clad, like Leo was saying, like, in adventuring and defeating the demon lord, and then they're, like, celebrating, and then they roll end credits at, like, 4 or 5 minutes into the show, and that's, like, the end of the show. Except not, because after the credits, we come back and like the girls are being all moe, they're like waking each other up. It feels like Hidamari's sketch or like some like little Iyashike slice of life show like that. And they're all heading out to go to like the adventurers school. And their teacher there is this super old guy with like white hair and a mustache. And he's like, oh, I'm going to live with my grandchildren's family, so I'm going to teleport away right now. And he just leaves. And then he's replaced by the new teacher who is Leo, I had to laugh at this though. This was kind of hilarious. So like she's so short that she has to like jump every time.
Why is she short?
Because she's a tiny demon lolly.
Exactly.
Tiny demon lolly. Okay.
Like she has to jump.
I could hear Kat shaking her head right now, just like, God damn it, Bcom.
She has to jump to say each word of her sentence over this lectern.
Yeah, she has to jump for all of the men's entertainment at home.
Yes. And then she kicks the lectern away finally, and she like introduces herself. And so she's going to be their new teacher. But okay, so the girls like introduce themselves like there's a priest, there's a warrior, there's a mage.
Wait. So is this lolly on lolly action? Is that what the show is?
There's a little bit of that in the first episode because like the warrior girl.
Yeah, it's lolly on lolly action.
The warrior girl is like chewing on the elf ears of the other one.
Yeah. It's a double L. That's what we're gonna call this from now on. The double L show. Lolly is on lollies.
So like
lolly lesbian action.
So we find out that the girl with the pink hair, who was the hero of the group, like because she took down the demon lord in the first scene, she says she's a hero, but then like the teacher corrects her, is like, there's no demon lord in this age and time, so actually you're classless for now. And so long story short, they end up going to this like first test dungeon, and the teacher, who is named Mao, sends the girls down inside and starts cackling to herself, and she reveals that she is actually the demon lord that they defeated at the end of the beginning of the show. And the forbidden magic that they used at the beginning of the show actually sent the demon lord back in time. So now she's teaching...
turned her into a lolly.
And turned her into a lolly.
So it basically like turned her into a child.
Yes.
And that's why she's a lolly. I like that. I like that though.
It's kind
I don't
of funny.
like that the show is all about lollies. That's kind of disgusting. But I like that. That's a good plot for a show. Yeah. That is a good plot.
And so like, she's going to like be teaching these heroes, but also trying to like get them killed before they can grow up to defeat her, basically.
So she's half trying to kill them.
Yes.
Half trying to molest them.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
it's good to have your priorities straight.
It's funny because she finds herself like won over by them. So she keeps like scolding herself for being a good teacher. It's like Satania from Gabriel Dropout, where she's not good at being a demon. Like she's too nice and stuff like.
So I'm gonna call it at the end of the show. They're gonna be like, we love you too much. We can't kill you. She's gonna like confess what she is. They're gonna all cry.
I hope we never make it that far.
They're all gonna cry and like have a big hug session, and then it's gonna turn into an orgy, and that'll be the end of the anime.
Yeah, that's basically all it is. There's some good voice acting, like the demon girl Mao is played by Misaki Kuno. And the mage, the blue-haired mage, Meza Endust, stupid name, is played by Inori Manase, who is Rem from ReZero and stuff. And like, so there's like some good voice actors.
I feel better about this than I did at the beginning. It seems like it at least has a decent plot.
Yeah.
So like it's a piece of trash with a decent plot.
There was one thing. This being an original, I feel like they kind of ripped off Mitsubishi colors because Maiza and Feifei are exactly like Kotoha and Sachan.
I totally felt that way too, especially the blue
same hair
girl.
color, and especially in the way they act. These are the same characters, like 4 years older. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and like Juliet, the pink hair girl, is exactly like Nadeshiko from Eurocamp as well. Like I felt that very much.
I felt that, yes, that too.
So, yeah, it's very similar dynamics to other shows you've probably seen before. You might have fun with it if you can get past the lolly stuff. I don't know. It's all right. It's like decently clever.
There was something in the second episode that you found funny. The robbing of the old lady's house or something like that.
Oh yeah, so like all of the girls in the group felt individually that they were the leader, like because like the demon teacher asked them to like choose a leader for your little group, and they're like, well, we're all the leader, right? They all individually thought they were the leader already, and so they have to decide who their leader's going to be when they realize that nobody thought everybody else was the leader. Blah blah blah. So one of the first test things they do is like Juliet's turn, and she's like, oh, I'm just gonna go in. We're gonna go into this poor like lady's house and start taking all of her shit because it's an RPG, and that's what RPG characters do. You walk into an NPC's house and just start stealing shit from them. It's pretty. They like start opening her drawers and like taking. They're like, oh, it's a stash of gold. And it's like, oh, they like opening jars. Like, hey, here's all of her medicine herbs, and they just like steal all of her shit and leave. I actually really liked that. It was like a throwback to RPG stuff, but.
Okay, so if you want like a fun little piece of trash, then watch that. Watch Endro.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, we're on to Sundays now. And How Clumsy You Are, Miss Ueno, which is on High Dive. It's from a manga. The studio is L'Esprit, who did the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls like theater show, like the little cute one, and same director who did that as well. So yeah, this is like a little half-length show. It's 12 minutes long. The first half is about like the main girl Ueno, who is inventing a device to distill her piss into drinkable water and trying to get her classmates to drink it.
Oh man, that reminds me of the JoJo episode where they try to get the main guy to drink the other guy's piss.
Oh yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about, don't you?
It's actually a lot like that. Yeah.
Why are there these weird themes every season where like one show will do something and then we'll see it in another show?
It's weird how like when it pops up, it just keeps coming. I don't know. Who knows if it's planned out in advance. I'm not sure.
It is weird. Okay, anyway, go on.
Yeah, so like the second half of the episode was about Ueno trying to get Tanaka, the boy in this show, to like look up her skirt. Because she's like an inventor. So she builds these crazy devices. And so she built this device that would disguise like the area underneath her skirt as like a galaxy or something. So even if you looked at it, all you would see is like stars and planets. You wouldn't see anything like incriminating. And so
incriminating?
Or yeah, whatever. Nothing lewd would show up.
Uncensored?
Yeah. I don't know. All in all, like, it was pretty pervy, especially that second half. And the girls are like too young to be doing this shit, even comedically.
Oh, no.
But also, it was just really stupid. And I couldn't help but compare it to Asobi Asobase, which like had the same dumb ideas, but were so much funnier because the animation and the direction were so good. And so like this show just felt like really cheap and just not much to the jokes. Like it's okay, but I'm not into it basically for any other reason.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't have much to say about that one. But
it is interesting, the angle of like an inventor and like different things you could invent. That is an interesting new angle.
Yeah, she's like a mad scientist, and she's gonna like torture her classmates basically every week.
The concept sounds good, but like you said, it's just nowhere near like Asobi Asobase's level. What was with direction and like the voice acting and like art and creative animation and all that fun stuff. So
exactly, yeah. It's just okay, yeah. All right, so let's move on to another show, Kotobuki. This is actually called The Magnificent Kotobuki. Before the season, they listed it as like Kotobuki, the Wasteland Squadron or something, but The Magnificent Kotobuki is what it's called on High Dive, where it's airing. It's another original from Studio Wow World and Gemba, and this is from director Sutomu Mizushima, who did Girls in Panzer, Shirobako, Prison School, Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan, and Mayo Iga.
Wow, that one's super old.
Yeah, this is a very talented director, and this one is the most similar to Girls in Panzer because it's basically like Girls in Panzer in World War II planes. So you have like cute girls flying amazingly detailed and accurate Japanese World War II planes, and it's like just basically freaking out over like how cool the planes are and how cute the girls are and stuff. So like, yeah, it basically starts out, they're in this sort of like weird, not our world, like sort of post-apocalyptic world or something.
Well, wait a minute, let me give a warning.
Okay, yes.
Okay. The character models and especially the way they move screams berserk. And that's
2016 Berserk.
2016 Berserk, because Gemba, or however you want to say it, did work on it. But once you recover from your Berserk PTSD, you actually get to see like the CG actually shine during the dogfights.
Yes, basically. Like, it's a weird introduction because the girls who pilot the planes are all CGI, like, rigged characters, whereas, like, everybody else in the show, like, all the
jerky.
Yeah, and all the other guys who they interact with are just normally animated. They're not CGI rigged. So it's kind of, like, awkward. It's a weird decision that they made. But, like, the way they get you over that is that the dog fights are amazing. So, but, like, yeah, you're introduced to these girls. They are all, like, working for this company called, like, I forget what they're called, like, the Kotobuki Corps or something. And they're basically bodyguards for hire. Because, like, in this time, like, when there's not much, like, centralized government or anything after whatever event happened that made things like this, there's all these like sky pirates who will attack your like convoys, and like, so they have this blimp that's like their air base, and they transport cargo from place to place on it. And,
the main thing is it's a giant blimp, and it houses, like you said, they transport cargo, but it also houses all their planes too. Like the ends open up, so it's also a hangar. It's basically an aircraft carrier, but it's a blimp in the sky.
Yeah, and you're like introduced in like the first scene to like the girls who are like hanging out in like a cafe. The main girl loves eating pancakes, and like these douchebag guys who are like from another mercenary group of pilots like come up to her, and they're like, "What are you stupid girls doing here? Like, why do you think you're so hot shit? Like, I've shot down like 11 and 5/7 planes like in the 2 years I've been flying." And the girls are like, "Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I shot down 43, so fuck you." Like, and so these girls are like all ace pilots basically.
The only thing that I got out of this show, and I know you two really liked this show, was one, fluffy Japanese style pancakes, which I really want to learn how to make. And just the whole time I was watching this, I just couldn't stop thinking about the pancakes.
It's heavy whipping cream. That's how you make
how
them
you
fluffy.
Get the fluffy, like high pancake. Yeah,
it's the same thing with like scrambled eggs. If you want to make them really fluffy, you got to mix in some heavy whipping cream.
Huh.
Yeah, that is how you make good fluffy scrambled eggs. So yeah, maybe I'll try to make Japanese style pancakes one day because I'm a decent bit. But anyway. They spent a lot of time focusing on those pancakes, and it made me hungry.
They're her favorite food.
The other thing that I will say positively about this anime is that the angles during the fight scene, like the dog fight in the pilot cockpit, were really good. Like there were some where they were like angled at like from below, and that was pretty epic.
Even the sound effects, especially when in the cockpit, like you hear the plane straining.
Oh god, yeah, it's so cool
against the G forces, and I was just sitting there and it's like creaking, and I'm just like, whoa! Like I expect this out of a video game that's like trying to tell me I'm in the cockpit with them. I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah, so those are the upsides. The downsides are I don't get much out of the characters. It doesn't seem like they're more than one dimensional.
They get way better in episode 2.
It got a little bit better at least. Yeah, like
and there's like this bizarre dodo bird thing. What the fuck is that?
There's like a fucking chocobo on board.
Anime? Why is it wearing a captain's hat? What the fuck is happening?
It's awesome. I don't know what that's about. It's pretty hilarious.
It's just there.
It's just there? You can't do
Yes,
I must know what the fuck this is.
Yes, we can. We can just have chocobos randomly roaming around the flight deck because it's anime. Who cares?
An extinct bird wearing a captain's hat. It just appears. I mean, I love bizarre stuff. I do. And I'm not going to lie. It made me laugh and scream a little bit at the screen. But, like, what the fuck? You gotta tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, so, like they were saying, like, I was, like, unironically thinking of Christopher Nolan's movie Dunkirk, where he set up, like, IMAX cameras on real old planes, or as close to real old planes as he could find. And, like, to give the viewer the sense that, like, oh, we're, like, piloting this old plane, and, like, give people a sense of, like, what a, like, analog machine it was. Like, fighter planes these days, like, are... Well, apparently they're little girls who fall asleep every 3 hours. But that's besides the point. Fighter planes these days are all digital and computers and like, very, very technically advanced. Whereas, like, if you watch like the startup sequence that Kylie has to go through for her Hayabusa, which was like a World War II Japanese plane, it was like
it's like extensive. Like by the end of it, I'm like, you need to show that to me 20 more times for me to even start to comprehend everything you just did.
Yeah, like she pumps like the fuel pressure. She like opens like the engine manifold to like release like heat, and like she has like a mechanic on the ground who's like literally like twisting like a fucking gear to start the engine, and then like it's crazy like the process they go through and all of the sound that they've captured obviously to make this sound real. And then yeah, you get that first person perspective as they leave the hangar. And they like drop into the clouds, and it's just like such an immersive thing. And then they get into a big dogfight, and like I love like the angles, like Kat was saying, like over the wing of one of the planes that's chasing Killia's plane at the end of the fight. And it's got like that serpent on it. It's like one of the pirates, right. And it's just such a cool thing, and like all these maneuvers, like flips, and like just like huge, like I don't know, like all these like freaking like dogfighting maneuvers that they do that are totally real. And like are like true to the abilities of these planes. It's very awesome. And it is
pretty awesome.
As for the CGI animation of the characters, I didn't think it was any worse than like Kamuri Kusa's CGI animation. Like, in fact, I thought the characters had like a lot of personality. So like I didn't mind that too much. But yeah, I like this show. I will definitely be watching only if only for like the dogfighting, because I think it looks that good. Like,
yeah, same here.
I've seen some movies that had worse dogfighting in anime than this. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It's good if you like action. If you like action a lot, then maybe try this show.
That's so weird. We have 2 jet shows this season.
I know, it's kind of weird, especially coming after Hisonete Masatan. And none of
that was the only one I could think of in recent memory that we watched.
Well, neither of them are anything like Hisonete Masatan, really, either. Well, actually, I was thinking of Hisonete Masatan when I was watching Girly Air Force, because like when he started making out with the plane, I was like, well, this is worse than just licking the dragon, isn't it? It's going even further.
Yeah.
Speaking of licking the dragon, holy shit, what a fucking transition. Mysteria Friends on Crunchyroll.
I would lick this dragon. Jesus Christ.
The source is obviously the game Rage of Bahamut. It was like a spin-off of like the Mysteria Academy event in the Rage of Bahamut game. And the studio is Cygames Pictures. They've done Blade Runner Blackout 2022. And the director is Hideki Okamoto, who directed Konohana Kitan, which is like a cutesy little girl show. And
back to Studio, what's really interesting is that after Cygames had such a huge success with Rage of Bahamut, they seem to have created their own studio, the Cygame Pictures. And I thought that was just really cool. So like you said, they did like Blade Runner ONA, and now they've moved on to like a 10-episode, 15-minute series. So like they're slowly ramping up to probably bring out something big. It also, I was really surprised at how well this show looked. I mean, like this was pretty much Rage of Bahamut standards.
It looked really nice, like especially a lot of like the magical effects, like when Princess Anne is in the library and she's like closing in that, like I don't know what that was, like the guardian of the library she has to like seal away.
Yeah, it was like a phoenix.
Yeah, it was like a fire phoenix. Yeah, basically.
Like one of the girls like stepped on its foot or something like that. I don't know.
But like the main thrust of this show, though, is it's like an ecchi Yuri show about this princess named Anne and this half-human, half-dragon girl named Greya. And man, they love showing Greya's big fat tail sticking up from under the back of her skirt. And like,
dude, I will say they're handling the Yuri very well.
Yeah, I think so.
I love their two's relationship.
You handle the Yuri very well.
Yes,
Come
you can.
on. It's like,
well, like okay, it has good progression. The two, they haven't yet really realized that they probably are kind of falling in love with each other. Greya's character, actually, I thought was going to be kind of a stuck-up person. Yeah, but turned out not to be at all.
No, she's just really nice and she's like a little bit shy, basically.
Yeah. Which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and she's super hot.
Well, I do love Cygames, and I like their progression as a studio. It does seem like they're branching out more. They're trying new things. It's okay.
It's kind of fun. Like, yeah, but the second episode, man, it started off with like such a fucking teaser because it is just
Oh boy.
Greya in bed. Well, first the camera shows you like all of her clothes on the floor, and then you just hear her like, like, and then you see her like gripping the sheets with her like her
And she's
fists.
moaning and arching her back, and she's going,
So,
and you're just like, what the fuck?
Let me replay what Leo said 2 minutes ago. They're doing such a great job with the Yuri in the show. 2 minutes later, she's arching her back, she's moaning, gripping the sheets.
But Kat, it's not anything untoward.
It's not what you're
trust
thinking.
anything he
It's not what
says.
you're thinking.
It's not what you're thinking, of
She
course.
has a fever. They think she's sick, but she's not sick. What's happening is her skin's molting off of her tail.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
It's
actually, like the rest of her body too at the end, because like
Okay.
when
Yeah.
she molts, she actually transforms into like an older looking girl, and she actually gets like a breast enhancement. She gets long hair.
She gets a breast enhancement. That's really what transformation is.
She gets
Magical
a
boob job.
she gets a quote unquote thicker tail that she's very self conscious about.
Oh my god.
So thick.
She's
She like drops that thing on the floor, it like shakes the whole room.
it goes
Boom, boom. It's hilarious, and like
I
she just.
now need to watch this.
And like, yeah, when Princess Anne like points it out to her, she's like, "Oh, I think your tail got thicker." Like, she makes like all these blushy faces. It's just kind of like really cute, like Yuri thing. It's pretty fun, and it's pretty funny as well. Like, and it's really good looking, as Leo said.
like I said, it's really really good looking.
Yeah, it's only gonna be 10 episodes. It's just like a little short thing. It's probably mostly fun for like Rage Bahamut fans, but I think other people can find stuff in this.
I want them to come back with the white-haired demon from Rage of Bahamut 2.
Ooh.
I demand that they make a spinoff with him where he is unclothed except for like a thong.
Is that the demon guy?
Yeah, for
it
90% of the anime. I demand, if they're going to make a fan service show
something?
with all girls being ecchi Yuri, I demand next that they make a yaoi with all of the
Azazel.
demons. Azazel, yeah. I demand they make a spin-off yaoi for their female fans now that they've satisfied the male fans, where they're all in the
there's
demon
always
realm
been
and
the
they're wearing
the Favreau
leather
and Kaiser
thongs.
thing. So what's really
true.
funny, at the end of the first episode, they had a title card that was a female demon looking Kaiser and a female human Favreau that was hanging on him.
Favreau is also handsome, but come on, let's talk about how Azazel is the hottest fucking dude that's been in an anime in a minute.
Can't you just find a website and just get some Azazel hentai real quick for yourself?
I'm just saying, okay?
I mean, I'd go find it for you, but I don't want that in my search history.
There's like a guy in this show too named Owen, but I don't really understand why he's there yet. Like, he just
Wait, is it?
I'm sure he'll come into it later.
No, Owen's there. He's the personal guard for
for Princess Anne. Yeah, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, so I guess
Okay.
I don't know, but he's probably just going to be there like to freak out and figure out that Anne has no interest in him and is totally interested in Greya or something like that. I mean, that just feels like his role.
It doesn't right now. Doesn't really show that he has any. He's just like way more than anything to be honored to be protecting her while at the school. So
Okay.
yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the new shows for this season. Do you guys want to take a break and do our final rankings before we vote?
Sure. That sounds like a plan.
I'll ponder on it for a minute.
All right, we'll be right back then. Hey, dude, you into anime, manga, and all that radical stuff?
Oh, yeah, man. It's tubular.
Then you should totally check out the...
This transmission has been hacked. If you want discussions, debate, reviews, and all in between, you must listen to the Anime Radicals Network at www.animeradicals.com. There's timely reviews, revolutions, mecha, and much more. Find it on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all podcast catchers. The Anime Radicals Network.
The revolution will be simulcast.
And we have all made it back alive. So Bcom, explain to us the voting process.
So it's time for our vote. So at the beginning of every season, we decide on the 8 shows we want to watch together. And so 5 of those shows are going to be decided right now by a consensus. We've made rankings of like 10 to 15 top shows. And we're all going to come to a consensus right now, like which are the top 5 of those shows based on our rankings. And so those shows we'll all watch together. We will all like review as we cycle through reviewers, basically. Like, so if I review one week, Leo will review it the next week, or Kat, and then we just keep cycling every week. So we all kind of get like an equal chance to review the episodes we're watching.
Unfortunately, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes unfortunately. Then, because there's 3 more shows left, each one of us will get a show that we can lock, which means that even if our co-hosts didn't want to watch it necessarily, they're now forced to watch it. Though only the person who picked it will be tasked with reviewing the episodes. The other 2 just have to watch and comment on what they thought of it.
Yeah, exactly. The evil power of the lock. You must use it for good or evil.
Yep. And so, yeah,
our old tagline used to be, "We will try to use these locks for evil, for good and not evil."
Yeah.
I actually like the other one better. We will try to use these locks for evil and not good.
Yeah, that was back when we did soft and hard locks. It was just me and Bcom, and Bcom's so worried at what the hell I would do.
Yeah, the having 3 people thing makes it a little bit easier to avoid some crazier opinions, but not always. So, but yeah, so we'll cover the shows 1 episode at a time on a weekly basis. We'll stay as close to airing time as we possibly can. And yeah, we may end up making some mid-season cuts on certain shows if they go downhill. And yeah, we'll have the opportunity to like replace them with another show. And if our listeners like really want us to be talking about something and like we're not talking about it and they have really good reasons, or they think our reasons that we talked about in these impressions episodes were really dumb, you can hit us up and let us know on Twitter or Discord, and we'll definitely take that into consideration before mid-season. So with all that said, let's move on to our individual top picks of this season. Leo, I think you're up first.
Okay, just go from 10 descending.
Sure.
So my number 10 was Mysteria Friends. Number 9, that time I got reincarnated as slime. 8, Girly Air Force. 7, yeah.
Oh my
I kind of liked it.
Leo. You made 8 Girly Air. That was your 8.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep watching that show. Honestly,
okay.
I'm gonna keep watching.
I'm judging you hardcore on that, Leo.
When do you not judge me? 7, Price of Smiles. Number 6.
Oh, Leo. Oh,
Kotobuki.
Leo.
I thought we convinced you a little bit when we went over that one.
I mean, but still. Okay.
So, number 6, Kotobuki. I know you hate it. Number 5, JoJo. Number 4, Kimuri Kusa.
Why, Leo?
Good pick, Leo.
I really like that show.
Solid pick.
Why is so terrible?
I also really like that both Leo and I have Karakuri Circus 1 slot in front of JoJo.
Oh, God.
It's the best.
I can't believe that you guys think that show is so good. A show with a bunch of girls in cat ears that prance around.
Whoa.
There's one girl with ears.
Well, I mean, it's better than JoJo, obviously. So.
It's better. What? I'm gonna whoop both of you. Go on with your
Number
fucking
3,
list
Mob
of
Psycho
trite
100.
anime.
2. At number 2, Dororo. And number 1, Promised Neverland.
Solid finish.
Okay.
Solid finish.
I actually agree with the first 2, but I don't know why you think Neverland is better than Dororo. But okay.
I'm just more interested by it, I think, at the moment.
At this point, I think I just want to shit on everything you say, Leo.
Probably.
Let's be honest. Oh, I love you, though.
Should I read my honorable mentions, or should I just do my top 10? I don't know.
No, I would just do the top 10.
Okay, so top 10. Number 10, Price of Smiles, just for you, Kat. Number 9, my roommate is a cat.
Ugh.
Okay, solid.
Number 8, JoJo, Golden Wind. Number 7, Kamuri Kusa, one of the most interesting shows of the season by far.
Okay.
Number 6, The Magnificent Kotobuki as well. Number 5, the show Leo might have heard of before. It's called Run with the Wind.
Oh, God damn it.
Yes.
Number 4, The Promised Neverland. Number 3, Domestic Girlfriend.
God, what? Don't make us watch that trash. You're horrible.
Number 2, Dororo. And number 1, Mob Psycho 102, which is just ridiculous. So, Kat,
That's pretty good.
Wow,
What's
that's
your
your
top
number
10?
one?
Yeah, I really
It's
like
a pretty
it.
good show.
Damn.
It is. Okay, so my picks: 10, Kotobuki. I actually didn't like this show all that much, but there's not much this season.
Mhm.
9, reincarnated as a slime because I mean it's also not very good, but fuck it, it's better than most of the trash. Whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a low season.
8, my roommate is a cat because it's like it just is a little piece of warms my heart. It's not anything special, but I like it.
I don't get it. I'm just frustrated watching
I
that
know
one.
you don't get it, but you have cats. I don't know.
It frustrates me
It's
because
entertaining.
he's dumb.
Well, I mean, he is dumb, but like it's just a fluff show. It's just a show you watch and you laugh a little and you move on. I don't know, but it's enjoyable to me. So it's my number 8. Number 7, Love is War, because that drama, that drama.
The drams.
Yes. Number 6, Domestic Girlfriend.
Oh, there's
'cause we all like
seriously
a little smut.
Something
in our
wrong with
lives.
you two for ranking this
I
show.
love it.
It was something wrong with us. We just enjoy smut.
Just love the soap operas.
Yeah,
Love 'em.
Jesus.
we love it. Number 5, Mob Psycho.
Mhm.
Number 4, Run with the Wind.
Wow.
Oh, Leo,
Something
Wow.
seriously wrong with you two.
you're not gonna shit on me because I bumped it so that we could.
Oh, I was saving it for when we got the consensus picks.
Okay. Number 3, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Ooh.
Number 2, Promise Neverland, and number 1, Dororo, which I still can't get over the weirdness of the name, but it's the best show of this season, in my opinion.
Awesome. All right, so that brings us to our top 5 consensus, which I'm going to start at 1 because for dramatic effect. So 1, because we all had it ranked very highly, is Dororo. We'll definitely be watching that. Number 2, The Promised Neverlands. Also all had that ranked pretty high. 3, Mob Psycho 102. So I think everybody would have expected us to definitely be following those 3 shows this season.
Yeah.
I think they're clearly a level above most of everything else.
I think the next two would have been more questionable. Definitely the 5th one.
Number 4, JoJo Golden Wind. We're picking it up. So
I think that's actually a very good pick.
I
don't
think it
think
is
that's
too,
questionable
yeah.
at all.
Bcom has a lot to watch.
I have a lot of shit to watch, but that's okay because JoJo's fun.
Wait, we're planning on doing the next one 2 days from now?
Oh, we're fucked. We're so fucked.
We'll
Listeners,
see.
I hope you appreciate it. I really do hope you do.
We'll see how that goes. So in number 5, we technically had a tie. No, I'll say technically because
A certain somebody decided they looked at the rankings and thought, oh, Run with the Wind isn't going to make it. So I'm going to move it up. And flat out told me this. And I was like, that's fucking bullshit, Kat.
But like I said, I at least admitted to you what I did. At least I didn't do what you did, Leo, where you were like, last season, ooh, I'm going to sneakily try to manipulate things
That was with
behind
the locks.
scenes.
The locks
Come
are
on, like,
different. You
at
can't
lea-
do that with the
it's
rankings.
Different. It's different, is it, Leo?
Yeah.
Is it different?
Bcom at one time was like, hey, did you rank this one show like this? And I was like, oh, no, I had perfect evidence why I didn't do that. But I was like, but we kind of decided you can't do
So
that
what
to
I'm
manipulate the
hearing
rankings.
is It's different when I do it, says Leo.
No, the
out of
locks,
the side of
the
his
locks
mouth.
are different because we rotate orders. So that means when your lock comes up, you can actually manipulate Bcom, who is after you.
That's true.
I was very straightforward with Bcom. I was like, I want to do this, but if that
You can't
upsets
make
you, then I won't
deals
do
either
it.
for your locks. That's fucking bullshit
That's
too.
totally valid. You can make deals for your locks. That is a valid approach, okay? Just because you don't have diplomacy and would rather sneak around behind the scenes like a thief in the night, Leo. Maybe some of us aren't like that. Maybe some of us want to be a little diplomatic.
Night Thief Leo. I can't get it out of my brain.
Yes, night thief Leo.
So, okay, the shows that are tied at 5th are Domestic Girlfriend and Run with the Wind. However, Leo, if you had ranked these shows against each other, which one would you have liked more to watch?
Fuck. I have not actually seen the anime Domestic Girlfriend. I just know from the manga.
Okay.
I know what we're getting into with Domestic Girlfriend. So I think that makes things worse. Because maybe somehow Run with the Wind can redeem itself.
See, I was for sure going to say that you would have ranked the Domestic Girlfriend higher. Because, like, basically,
I love looking at the hot girls as much as you, but fuck, that's what I got hentai for, you know?
Yeah, because, like, basically, like, Kat ranked Domestic Girlfriend 6, I ranked it 3rd. Kat ranked Run with the Wind 4th, and I ranked it 5th. You ranked both of them below 10th, which, for the purposes of this ranking, is the same. Because it's the same,
they wouldn't even been, if I'd done the 15, they still wouldn't even have been in my 15.
So then they both still would have been the same. So, okay, then I'm going to go with what I decided at the beginning.
Well, no. Let Leo decide between the two of them.
Okay, fine.
Let Leo make this decision.
All right,
and
fine.
live
I guess
with
that's
his
more
own
fair because Leo's the only one who really technically hasn't had a say.
He's the one that has to do this to himself. I like it. What do you choose, Leo? What's your poison?
I'm still going to keep it how we have it because it's going to be easier to review Domestic Girlfriend. At least now I can watch Run with the Wind and stare at my cat instead.
I was hoping you would pick Run with the Wind, and then you would have to live with it. Oh,
no, keep it as it is.
Me. You disappoint me.
That makes sense. So I was going to punish Kat for her scheming slightly and just like put Domestic Girlfriend 5th because of that. So, but that'll be it. So it'll be like Dororo, Promise Neverland, Mob Psycho, JoJo, Domestic Girlfriend are the rotating reviews for this season.
And every time you complain about it, I'll just remind you, Leo. Well, you chose this.
I was complaining either way. What the fuck is? I don't. Do you want to die by a stab wound or a gunshot wound? I don't know. Where are you stabbing me? Where are you shooting me? It doesn't.
If I was a serial killer, that's the kind of serial killer I would be.
Which one kills me quicker? I don't know.
I would bring a sword and a gun, and I'd be like, "Which one do you want to die from?"
Oh Jesus! So if anybody is in that situation, it's Kat who you were talking to.
Oh shit!
All right, so then we come to the locks, and this time around, the lock order is going to be Kat, me, and then Leo. Leo has final lock this time. So, Kat, it's your turn to lead it off. What show do you want to be your lock? What do you care about the most? What do you want to follow?
Okay, so like I said, Leo was upset with me because I made a deal. I did make deals. This is my diplomacy run. So I'm going to pick for my lock, Love is War.
Kaguya-sama.
This may end up being a mistake, but I think it might be entertaining. We'll see.
Kat didn't consider the possibility that I could be betraying her.
Oh, I thought of this, but I would like to think that Bcom can be trusted in his diplomatic deals. We'll see.
Yeah, for me, the next couple shows that I would be considering are like Kotobuki, Kamurikusa. But man, I want to see Leo complain about Run with the Wind. So Run with the Wind is my pick.
Yeah.
Very excited about that one. I just want to see how it all ends up. Like, I think the stage is set. Like, even when we first reviewed like the first couple episodes and we were talking about the Hakone Ekiden, I was all excited about the race itself. And that's what we're going to get to see. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So I was expecting Kat to go with Run with the Wind, which would mean Bcom would have gotten Kotobuki or Kamurikusa. But due to their illegal deals,
illegal deals.
I can't go with Kotobuki. I have to punish Kat and go with Kamurikusa.
I'm honestly excited to see where Kamurikusa goes.
This fucking
I really am too.
Cat-eared bullshit.
She's a fox cat. Foxy bullshit.
It's actually damn pretty cute when she goes down the line and like they they like kind of flinch and move around. And that's not even what I like about the show.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right, there you have it. Our locks from Kat are Kaguya-sama, Love's War. From me, Run with the Wind. And from Leo, Kamurikusa.
Yeah.
Get fucked, Boogiepop. You suck.
Yeah,
God, we
much.
hated that.
It had so much promise, too. Like, it really did have potential.
Yeah.
They just fucked it up. Anyway, thanks for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates. And with that, we'll see you next time very fucking soon. Holy shit.
See you soon.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Yep.
Bye.